Come on, Livingston, we're gonna go on and on and on. Together we can make it. We're gonna go on and on and on. Come on, Livingston.
Knocks it through. Mullen bursting into the box. Josh Mullen.
Together we can make it.
Mullen's ball across. It's turned in. It's Pittman who's got it. Livingston leads.
Can they get the ball back in? O'Brien.
Lead! And Livingston have the lead.
Man, you score.
If we march to
The full-time whistle blows and David Hayes celebrates. And the Livingston fans join in exultation.
come on, Livingston.
Livingston have the lead against Rangers, and they are certainly rising to a few occasions on their return to the top flight in Scotland.
Come on, Livingston. We're gonna go.
Hello and welcome back to TalkLivi, the podcast dedicated to everything Livingston Football Club. My name's Andy, and today I'm joined by the usual boys, well, minus Bruni, who's now too big time for us, here at TalkLivi. You and Callum, how's it going, boys?
Much better mood today after the result, obviously, which we'll get on to shortly. But yeah, it's been a good day.
Great stuff. We of course come to you via Zoom call, as once again the lockdown rules have changed, so we apologise if the audio isn't as good as it usually is. But we're doing our best, obviously, to bring you the best content we can despite the circumstances. But coming up this week, we look back at the weekend's game of St Johnstone. We then try and pick our all-time top 5 Livi goals. Not an easy task, of course. And finally this week, we look ahead to a Friday night trip to Tannadice to face Dundee Utd.
On Saturday, we welcomed Callum Davidson's St Johnstone side to West Lothian in what was a massive six-pointer for both clubs. Neither side have started the season particularly great, so this presented an opportunity for both sides to kickstart their season. Back to our back four after our back three at Celtic. 2 changes to the team, which were Brown and Sibbald. But it presented 3 points for the Lions, a crucial 3 points. Guys, what were our thoughts on our second win of the season?
Yeah, I thought it was like we said there, like we said last week, and like you just said there, it was a huge game, a 6-pointer. Personally, I don't think we started particularly great. I thought we looked a bit nervy defensively. They created 2 or 3 opportunities, but the 2 goals in 2 minutes totally changed the game. And I thought for most parts after the goals we controlled the game, bar maybe the last 10, 15 minutes. But it was a massive result for us. I thought we were very good in the middle of the game. So from 30 minutes to 80 minutes, I thought we controlled most of the game. I thought we were excellent going forward. Again, creating good opportunities. I thought Tiffany was outstanding today, holding the ball up, bringing players into play, occupying the centre backs, which is something we've been talking about, and bringing others into the game. Obviously, getting his goal and an assist. And I thought generally, good result, good performance, and it's great to be back to winning ways.
Definitely, and I think it was more about getting the result today rather than how we played. We went back to doing the basics of what we'd done last season very well. We were hunting impacts. We weren't giving them time in the ball. We were everywhere. You had your fullbacks overlapping. Whenever we did have the ball, we were trying to create space. But massive result. Moves us up to 8th in the league, I think, as well, by going by other results, which is brilliant going into this run of fixtures now that we've got, that we spoke about last week, that we need to try and capitalise on this and basically start producing the performances and getting the points on the board.
Yeah, for me, I think, I know Andy, you said we looked a bit nervy early doors, but I think we chatted last week how there's maybe a tad of a change of approach with St Johnstone. They like to play a bit more. I think we recognised that, and I thought we were bang at it in terms of the way we pressed the ball in the middle of the park. I think they really struggled to kind of put 2-3 passes together at times, and they started going direct, which just plays into our hands. And I think we were really in control first half. Yeah, they had a couple openings and whatnot, but that's have to be expected. But I think once we got the first goal, which for me is brilliant by Tiffany to start off the move. He's won the ball back in the middle of the park, started the move off. Could have been a penalty, arguably, in the build-up, I think, as well, with Forrest. Got clattered, but Tiffany's taking a touch, taking his time, slotted away brilliantly. And then the second goal, Marv, broke forward. Tiffs, again, brilliant plays, held the ball in, rolled it in the Forrest. And to be fair to Forrest, it's a cracking finish. It's one of those ones that, you could be, you might go and smash that. That might be the thought process, but he's just kind of stroked it into the far corner. And once we went 2-0 up, I think the game suits us then. The onus was really on St Johnstone. I think Callum Davidson, to be fair to him, I think kind of 5-10 minutes into the second half, I think he recognised that they were really struggling to kind of play. Went to a back three. And I think, as you kind of touched on, Andy, from about 70 minutes onwards, they were really on top of us and had a couple of good chances. Holt cleared one off the line, and I think, was it Hendry that had a header as well, just kind of before that. But again, to be fair to our management team, they recognised that, matched them up, went to a back three to try and kind of match them over the park. But in terms of a standout performer, Tiffany was brilliant today. I think he really occupied their back four or back three. I think they really didn't know how to handle him. He was coming short, he was running channels, he was running in behind. We talked about it last week, I'm just giving us something different, and he was just unpredictable in terms of what his movement was going to be. And as I say, I think he was the big difference for us in terms of our creativeness going forward as well.
Yeah, no, I listen, everything you've said there, I think you're spot on in terms of Tiffany. I thought far more better performers from us this week. Tiffany, I thought Pittman was back to his usual self. I thought Bartley was back to his usual self. I thought Holt was outstanding. I would argue that the middle of the park totally outplayed St Johnstone's three in there, and I thought our three totally controlled that part of the park. I thought Forrest caused them problems, Tiffany caused them problems. I thought Ambrose strolled the game. I thought everything McCrory had to do, he done well. So yeah, I think a lot of positives to take for the game. 3 points as well, much needed 3 points, as you mentioned, Callum. A big 3 weeks ahead in terms of the games coming up that was starting in this game. So it was massive that we picked up those points, because if we'd lost the game, the negativity starts getting more and more. You start worrying, but now after a win, all of a sudden we're looking above us. You're thinking if we can possibly go up to Tannadice and win that game, we move above them, we're looking at top 6 again. It's amazing how things change over the course of just one good result.
Oh, definitely. And I think a massive thing for us today is getting a clean sheet. Not conceded goals at home. You've got a bit more confidence back into your back line. Robbie was a bit more commanding in his box today. The way that for the first goal, Ewan said it puts a lot of it in Tiffany, but the way that McCrory comes out, catches the ball, and he just quickly distributes the ball up the park, and that's the counter-attack starting. You've then got Devlin that's breaking up to put pressure on O'Halloran, and O'Halloran's forced into the mistake with Tiffany as well, and then we break from there. We're back to hunting in the packs all over the park, and you look at that opportunity, we've broke from our own box. You've got Tiffany up there himself. Forrest, Robbo, Devlin and Tiffany are all in the box when that opportunity comes.
Yeah, I have to agree with you with Robbie McCrory. I think he absolutely bossed his 18-yard box today, to be honest. I think everything he came for, he took cleanly. And as you say, played a massive part in the first goal. Quick thinking to go and try and play quickly and hit them on the counter-attack. It was a good day for shutting up a lot of haters today, I think. For guys that have been taking a bit of criticism, the likes of Tiffany, McCrory, I think had really solid and very good performances today, which I'm not going to lie, I absolutely love.
Yeah, no, I think as well, I think you mentioned that a wee bit earlier, Ewan, in terms of the management team taking a bit of credit in terms of, St Johnstone changed it over to the first 10-15 minutes of the second half. It was obvious that whatever St Johnstone were doing wasn't working. We were pretty control of the game. They made the change, they came into it a wee bit, and we recognised that and changed it ourselves. I thought we showed far more professionalism in this game in terms of stopping attacks when we had to. We mentioned last week against Celtic there was an opportunity to bring down Ncham. We never done it. Celtic went on and scored. Similar chance today for St Johnstone, and Holt took the man out, stopped the attack, took the yellow card, took one for the team. We've been crying out for that, and over the years, that sort of game might have got away from us. St Johnstone, if they grab a goal early in the second half, we draw that game or we go on and lose that game. I thought we were far more professional in our play, certainly in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, I totally agree with you in terms of the likes of Bartley and Holt. Both made similar challenges during the game and just kind of stopped the play. It's something Gary talks about all the time, just being professional. I think it's another thing that Gary always touches on, is that earning the right to play type thing. You need to you need to do the ugly side of the game to earn the right to play, and I think we did that really well today. As Waugh touched on, all the hunting and packs that we did, I think it was back to a really kind of typical display that we come to expect of us. And we've been speaking for a few weeks now about this run of fixtures that we've got, and I think it's the perfect way to kind of kick off that run of fixtures, getting back to winning ways. Dundee United at Tannadice, we've got fond memories of our last visit there, so let's hope we can get a repeat performance on Friday night.
This week we're going to try and list our top 5 Livi goals of all time. Not an easy task given there are so many to choose from, but nevertheless we're going to give it a go. So lads, let's hear your thoughts. What goal instantly jumps out to the front of your mind when thinking of top Livi goals? Because one jumps out straight away to me, and that is Lovell against Rangers.
Yeah, that's a pretty iconic goal. Even the build up to it, Fernandez, it's a great wee think into the box, and I think there's some goals that always stick out to me for the surprise factor, because one of the last players you'd expect to come up with an overhead kick from 16 yards out is Stuart Lovell. Speaking to Stuart Lovell, talking about how his knees are knackered and everything like that, so you just don't expect him to come out with an overhead kick like that. There's a few that we'll talk about with that surprise factor element, but a couple that really stick out for me instantly from chatting with Bobo last week. One is Barry Wilson's goal against Sturm Graz in the 94th minute. I don't think I've seen a ball hit cleaner than that. Absolute rocket straight into the top corner. And another one was Bobo's one against Aberdeen as well. Again, just a bit of instinctive finishing, 40 odd yards out, catching the keeper off his line. That was another one that instantly sprang to mind for me. But I'll talk about, Andy, we've mentioned it a few times, the surprise factor in it, which is Craig Barr at Cowdenbeath. I'll never forget, there's probably 300 folk there, and you could probably hear us in the highlights, don't shoot, oh, what a goal. He just stepped out from the halfway line and had 35 yards out and just pings it.
Yeah, no, they like you, Callum. Stuart Lovell was the one that instantly came to mind. As you said, Ewan, it's an iconic goal. I was watching it earlier today. Lee Makel throw in into Fernandez's feet, dinked over, and a bicycle overhead kick by Lovell into the corner and gets us the win. And did that not guarantee us Europe that season as well? That win, or finishing third, something like that.
It didn't guarantee Europe. It was the Dunfermline game, second last game of the season, right. Secured European qualification.
The other one, like you said, Ewan, Craig Barr, totally unbelievable. If you weren't there and saw the game, try and find the highlights for it. It's an absolutely remarkable shot, 40 yards out. I think it gets further and further back every time we talk about it. The other one that kind of sprung to mind, and it's probably not in terms of the goals being as good, but Jamie McAllister's goal in the cup final, the play, the build-up play in that one, the through ball, the inch perfect through ball and the slotting under the keeper. I think that goal will live long in the memory for every Livi fan. And the other one is John Robertson up at Aberdeen. I think we were in the second division and we went up to Aberdeen in the cup and won that game through John Robertson's goal, another iconic goal for any Livi fan.
That Robertson goal is quite similar to McAllister's, actually, when you look back at it. He's broke from kind of just inside the Aberdeen half and kind of ran through, and it's a similar finish as well.
Next one for me has got to be Scott Pittman against Dundee United That goal just summed us up that season. Jacko closing down the ball, Sean Byrne with the press, winning the tackle, Pittman running in, Megan Biles-Mosney, the greatest centre-back ever, as he was classed when he went to Dundee United, and then just the absolute scenes as the ball hits the back of the net.
You've brought me on brilliantly to my next bit. Like, we talk about favourite goals, and you can talk about like the technique and everything like that, but then there's goals I remember really fondly for the absolute scenes that it caused. And one that always springs to mind for me was Jordan White's late winner at Cowdenbeath in our great escape under Burchell, where he managed to kind of spin the centre half and put it through his legs into the far corner. I just remember kind of feeling that game, the celebrations and everything. You felt like something special was going to happen at the end of that season. I think that goal completely ignited that. There's another one actually, it's in a defeat, but talking again about the scenes, was Craig Halkett's goal against Stranraer, that playoff game to take it to extra time. I know we ended up losing the tie, but I still remember the absolute scenes when Halk scored that goal. It was brilliant, but for that, to me, because we got beat, it doesn't count. It can't be counted. Another one for the surprise factor, Jimmy Scott at Alloa. Who can forget that one? Jimmy Scott, absolutely knackered, decides to try and lob the keeper from 45 yards into the far corner. I watched that one the other night. Andy, you can hear you clear as day in the highlights going, get him off, get him off.
I think he was, like you say, absolutely knackered during the game, and he was actually asking to get off, and a few of our fans were shouting, come on, take him off. Take him off. He then goes and does that, I think, because he just couldn't be bothered running anymore. I'm just going to take a pop shot for the halfway line. It goes in. Still an unbelievable goal. I remember it like it was yesterday, to be honest, which is unbelievable because I don't remember many things. I think, Callum, you can't mention playoffs without mentioning the Keegan Jacobs goal at Firhill to basically secure the return to the Premiership. As iconic a goal as you're likely to see at Livingston, and the perfect man to get that goal is Mr. Livingston himself. And free kicks, are we counting free kicks and goals? It's a good goals. Hassan Kashluo springs to mind, his first touch against Dunfermline, which really kick-started that sort of great escape season. And then the other one you kind of mentioned goals about when it comes into scenes was Fotheringham against Falkirk, when we came back for 3-0 down to draw that game 3-3, and then obviously subsequently lose the game. But the goal for Fotheringham gets us back to 3-3. The scenes in the stands after that one were quite unbelievable as well.
There's another goal that's just kind of sprung to my mind, and it was sadly the season we got relegated from the top flight, but it was Paul Dalglish at East End Park. I remember that goal really fondly. We were put in the cowshed because there was a bit of gripe between Pierce Flynn and John Yorkston at the time, so we weren't given behind the goal, despite every other club in the division got given behind the goal. So we were given the wee shed, but he picked the ball up in front and cut inside, and then he's hit this absolute rocket from 30 yards, and just because of where we were right behind it, and it was just, you knew as soon as, one of those ones, as soon as he's hit it, you know it's in, and goes flying into the far top corner. Another one that just sprung to mind was talking about Alloa was Mikey Miller down in League One. Again, talking about one of those ones, as soon as it leaves his boot, you're going, that is in. And again, clean as you like, he's hit it. I don't think you were at that one, Will. I think you missed that because you would have been watching another football team that day.
I think I was,
you're watching another football team when your team's playing. Absolutely shocking. But
Shameful.
I don't care if it was the Manchester derby. Shocking. Right?
I don't think I've ever seen the goal either because there's never been highlights produced of the game.
What I remember from that Player of the Year was the goal of the season Rio got ran off, and Liam Kelly, who had a few venoms at this point, just shouts out, Mikey, how's your goal no in this? Right, at Alloa. That tells you how good it was that some of our players were complaining, but the fact is we just didn't have footage of the goal.
Ewan's talking about a goal against Alloa, the goal from Scott Pittman on the day that we won the League One title. Hits it first time coming out from the corner right into the top stanchion.
Yeah, good shout. Really good goal. Wins us the title, and great strike. But we're trying to get a top 5 here.
We're actually forgetting one that's probably from 2 seasons ago. Craig Halkett against St Johnstone.
I mean, I know it was like 8 to 9 yards out, but is it that great a goal? Surely the keeper's got to be doing better for me. No?
It's a really good goal, but it's not one I would put in that category of like our top 5 ever. So if you were to try and narrow down to a top 5, Andy, I'll go with you first. If you were to try and no, in fact, sorry, I've just remembered another one. Liam Fox's volley at Ayr.
And the other
That
one,
goal's absolutely outrageous as well.
the other one that I think we've glaringly missed, which was totally robbed for the goal of the season last year, was Jack Stobbs, which was an absolute thunder bastard in at the top corner up at Dingwall. You could argue for the build-up play and the finish, it's one of your best ever goals in terms of the strike. It was an unbelievable finish. How that never won goal of the season, I'll never know.
Yeah, can't believe who wouldn't have voted for that. Who voted for London's goal?
Yeah, top 5 goals. God, we've just reeled off about 40 goals there. To pick top 5 is really difficult. I think number 1, just for how iconic it was, Stuart Lovell's sort of overhead side wider kick would probably be my number 1 goal. 2.
What is a sidewinder kick?
Yeah, I'm getting dodgy looks through the Zoom chat here for saying.
You've been watching MLS too much.
You know what I mean.
I've never seen a coaching manual with sidewinder kick, but anyway, we'll let you carry on.
You know what I mean. I think number 2, Craig Barr, just for that sort of that unreal factor in terms of why is he shooting here for 40 yards out, and then it's literally into the postage stamp. It couldn't have been any closer to the top corner if you'd tried. So probably that is number 2. Bobo number 3, I think similar to Craig Barr, it's one of them where you think, don't shoot for there. Unbelievable strike into the top corner. And now I'm struggling a little bit. Liam Fox's number 4. It was a great strike. I'm glad you brought that up, Ewan. It was a tremendous goal. Volley at the sort of corner of the box to away Ayr United. So that'd be number 4. And I think just for the goal it was, Jamie McAllister at number 5. I know it's not our best goal ever, but the goal that put us ahead in the cup final, great build-up play, great finish. Put us 2-0 up in the cup final. Great build-up play, great goal. So yeah, that would be my 5. Tough to choose though.
Very, very tough to choose.
So what would be your top 5?
For me, top, I'll agree with Semple. It's got to be Stuart Lovell's against Rangers. You can't beat that goal for me. Second, I'd actually probably go with Barry Wilson against Sturm Graz. I thought it's one of the cleanest, as Ewan said earlier, it's probably one of the cleanest hits of a ball you'll see. And then my other ones are probably going to be for scenes. You've got to have Pittman against Dundee United. It's one of the most iconic goals you'll see probably watching as a Livingston fan. Jordan White at Cowden Beef, start of the Great Escape to put us 2-1 up. I also remember Ewan splitting his jeans open that day, celebrating the goals, trying to run down the stand.
What's worse is I wore those jeans for the remainder of the season because I thought they were lucky and it kept us up, didn't it? So.
We also wore them the first game of the season and we got pumped 3-0 at Rafe.
That is very true. They didn't appear for the remainder of that season.
And I would probably go with Bobo against Aberdeen. I think that's absolutely brilliant. That would be my top 5. But I've just realised that I've missed Keegs in the playoff final. But I'll go with that top 5 and I'll leave it to Ewan for his.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I'm not very far off you. I was trying to strike that balance between the kind of the actual goal itself and then kind of the context of the goal. So I would have Pittman against Dundee United in my top 5. I would have obviously Stuart Lovell against Rangers in my top 5. It's really difficult to just narrow it down. again, for the kind of scenes and what the goal meant, Jordan White against Cownby always springs to mind when I think of goals at games. I would have to say Barry Wilson against Sturm Graz, again, calibre of opposition it was against, to go and beat a team like that were playing Champions League football 12 months before. And then I always think of Burton O'Brien's goal as well against Aberdeen. It's so difficult to narrow it down to a 5 that in the group chat I was asking, can we make it into a top 10? Then I can get loads of goals in. But well, I'm pretty much bang on with you.
To be fair, we're not far away us all. We've all kind of named all the other goals. If you're listening, don't at us. We hate. Try and name 5 top goals. It's really difficult when there's so many. But do at us with your top 5. We'd love to hear what your opinions are on your sort of favourite 5 goals in Livingston.
Simple. You just said don't at us, but at us.
Yeah, so basically to sum up this section, guys, just don't at us, but if you can at us your top 5 goals, that would be great.
I think
just for clarity.
You're missing the point here, because clarity is key. I say don't at us with abuse over our top 5, because it's very difficult to choose it, but at us with your top 5, so it's your opinions, not ours. That's what I said, so don't try and twist it. That's what I said. So yeah, at us with your top 5. It's not easy to do. That's our top 5. We'll put a wee list together and put it on our social media, so look out for that later in the week. Finally this week, it's time to look ahead to our next game. We head to the scene of our infamous playoff semi-final first leg win for the first time since that remarkable evening back in May 2018. It is of course a trip to face newly promoted Dundee United at Tannadice. As you said earlier, great memories of the place, don't we?
Yeah, I've got a memento. I've got half a seat from Josh Mullen's equaliser that night. So I've got a permanent reminder of that game. But yeah, it's one of the best nights ever supporting Livi, and back under the lights again. So hopefully we can produce something similar. It's going to be a tough game though. I think Mickey Mellon's coming. I think he's maybe trying to change the style at Dundee United a little bit, try and play a bit more kind of free flowing, a bit more attacking than they did last year. They've kind of gone to a 4-4-2. They're playing typically as well. But I think, they've got the obvious threat up front, which is Shanklin, Clark. I think the boy Chalmers has played quite well this season in the middle of the park as well. But I think they give plenty away at the other end. I think the way Tiffs was playing today, I think he could give the likes of Connolly and Reynolds an absolute running. Not blessed with pace, either of them. I think they're trying to play out a lot as well. I think both of them are quite clumsy on the ball. So I think the way we play, if we're hunting in packs like we were today, I think there's plenty of opportunity for us to go and secure an away win on grass, dare I say it. But no, I think it's one of those games we targeted, kind of talking about this run of fixtures we've got, and it's one I'm sure the gaffer and Davey have targeted as trying to get a win on the board, or at least a point as a minimum.
I think going into this game, we need to just basically do what we've done today. We need to set up, we need to hunt in packs, we need to be ready to go at them. From what they've been, I think Dundee United at the start of the season seemed to be a bit like what we were when we first came up. They were that unknown quantity. Not a lot of teams knew how to play against them. Didn't have probably an extended pre-season, so teams couldn't really get as much a look at them. New managers came in with different ideas, different way of maybe trying to get them to play, like they had under Nielsen, because a lot of fans seemed to be a lot of unrest, even at Dundee United, even with Nielsen in charge, even though they'd won the league. The boy Luke Bolton the boy that's on loan from Man City, seems to be getting quite a lot of rare reviews from them at the moment. He seems to be a tricky winger that's probably a bit like Devlin. He wants to actually take a man on, try and beat him to the byline, which hopefully he'll probably be up against Serrano because he's a right back. But I think we can get at them. I think a bit like what Ewan said, I think that our strengths will probably be better than what they've got in the park. I think looking at their starting 11 today, just having it here, it seems still fairly defensive. They've got two left backs starting. They're trying to probably make sure their left-hand side's a little bit more secure. Whenever we've played them before, I think we've always had joy off the boy Jamie Robson, that they normally play at left back. And they played Adrian Sproul in front of him, got as well. So I think in the middle of the park we can get it at Butcher. Then you've got Reynolds, and they played Ryan Edwards at centre half today by the looks of it. So he's at the end of the day, I think if you put the ball over the top of Reynolds and let Tiffany just run at him, let him face his own goal and make a decision, I think that's where we could get our joy. But it's really is Tiff's going to be fit after coming off injured today as well?
Well, that's the question. It looked like it was just a bit of a muscle injury, maybe a dead leg. He had ice on his leg, didn't he, at the end there? So possibly just a dead leg, hopefully. I agree with everything you guys have said. I kind of noted down Dundee United have kind of tended to play a 4-4-2, so a kind of conventional way of playing. Mickey Mellon, a few accusations for some supporters that he's maybe a bit naive in terms of the way he goes into games. Went to Ibrox and tried to sort of go at them, got torn apart really. 4-0 they got beat. Again, they dropped points to Hamilton today, 1-1. I know that, I believe they missed 4 or 5 great opportunities, but again, they changed it at half-time after controlling the game. Hamilton came out, got that equaliser, and yeah, they struggled to get the win. So there is weaknesses there. There is potential for us to get at them, but it's one of those games that we need to do what we're best at. We can't go into the game looking at them. We need to do what we do best, and that is what you say, hunting packs. Play exactly the way we played today. Be professional, pass the ball well, take our chances when they come along, and defend our box properly. And if we do all of that, we'll give ourselves a great opportunity going there and getting a result, because people will look at that game and write us off right away. They'll look at it and they'll say, game's on grass, it's away from home, it'll be a typical Livingston performance, they'll lose that game 1 or 2-0, and that'll be the end of it. We need to go there with confidence after the result against St Johnstone, take our chances, defend our box, get at them, because there is weaknesses there, and we've got every opportunity to get the win.
I think it's quite similar to the game against St Johnstone, to be honest. I think both them and Dundee United are kind of trying to change their approach and play out a lot more, play through the thirds. And as we've all touched on, if we play to what we're good at in terms of our pressing in the middle of the park and just completely upset any sort of rhythm they can get going, I think that's where we can win the game. So I think middle of the park is going to be absolutely vital in terms of this game. And I'm hoping Tiffs is fit, because I think he could genuinely cause a lot of issues for whatever centre half pairing they put together, because I think there's mistakes in them. Like there was the goal last week against St Mirren that Reynolds, just dilly-dallies on the ball instead of just going and clearing his lines. He gets caught in possession and St Mirren find a way back into the game. So I think that's a good example of what Tiffs would do. For example, for our first goal today, Tiffs catches the boy in possession, nicks the ball off him and creates a counter-attack. So I agree with kind of everything you guys have said. I think, yes, it's going to be a tough game, but I think it's very similar to St Johnstone game. If we can approach it in the same manner, I think we're more than capable of getting a positive result up there.
I think my main concern, obviously, and I was going to ask this if it was a good or a bad time to be coming up against Dundee United. Obviously, there was a lot of criticism about Shanklin not scoring any goals in top flight. That's now 2-2 for him. Scoring last week, a great strike. We've obviously not seen today's strike, but that's 2-2 for him. Alongside Nicky Clark, there is obviously goals in the team. So it's up to us then to stop that. Obviously, defensively, we've been a bit frail at times this season. St Johnstone, we were much better, defended our box better. But are those two guys a real cause for concern for us, do you think?
I think coming up against them, Nicky Clark's got experience. Maybe not playing top flight football, but he's got experience of playing in the lower leagues and how to probably rustle up defenders, how to do the dirty side of it. He's also got he can also take a penalty. He scored quite a few penalties for them last season and already this season as well. And I think when you look at our backline, I would go with the same back four. we've got to try and get back to having a solid 11 that we know that's going to come in, week out and play. And we've kept a clean sheet today. There's not really been any massive errors from anyone in the back line. So let's go with that. You've got Ambrose that's up against him, who's got over, 50 caps for Nigeria. He's played Champions League football. He's very, very experienced. And you've got John Guthrie, who was one of the best centre-backs probably in the league last season. And if we can go into the game with that, and then you've got Marv that's potentially sitting in front of them as well that can also drop back in there to help out. And I think we need to have the basics of that. And we always look better when we've got the ball and we're attacking. So I think it's going to be a big game. But it's time for maybe the defence this season to just step up and go, do you know what, we need to, this is probably an away game that we've got a chance of going and getting all 3 points. Let's get drilled, let's get ready, and let's go out there and prove what we can do.
When you look at the stats for the season so far, and I'm looking at them right in front of me, it's true what we've been saying. Dundee United are actually the joint worst defence with us, believe it or not. Not really surprising given the start we've made, but Dundee United doesn't surprise us either when you look at their back line and their centre-back pairings. Having said that, we've scored 10 goals this season now in the league, which is the fifth most goals in the league. So the circumstance that we don't have a striker, we're not scoring our chances, well, it's plainly not true, and we've all said it. So we've all said we need to start taking our chances, but we've scored 10 goals this season now in the league, conceded 14. So the main problem lies defensively. If we can sort that out, there's no reason why we can't go to Tannadice and win the game. I think the interesting battle for me in the game will be Butcher versus Bartley. I think that's got all the makings of a classic encounter at the sort of heart of the midfield. I think Butcher's renowned for liking a tackle. Bartley likes to wind his opponents up. Potential to use that to our advantage.
Yeah, you talk about that battle in the middle of the park. Again, talking about the similarities between our game today. Murray Davidson up against Bartley. We all know Murray Davidson loves to get stuck in 50-50s. He'll never shirk away from one. And you're talking about Butcher being very similar. I'll just kind of go back to what you were talking about, Shanklin. If we can do the basics and defend our box like we did today, we all know Shanklin's a penalty box striker. It's what he's got all his goals from, in the lower leagues. So if you defend your box properly, you don't give him those opportunities to kind of sniff a chance out in the 18-yard box. There were a couple of occasions today where St Johnstone did get an opportunity, a couple of times where maybe a wee bit lapsed. But if we can cut that out and just cut off any sort of supply to Shanklin as well, just by hunting in packs like we were today, if he doesn't get any service, he's not going to get chances, is he? So I think the midfield battle is absolutely crucial. We played them pre-season, and I think, we more than handled ourselves and more equipped ourselves up there. I know it's a pre-season game, it's obviously different, but I'm not scared of going to Tannadice. I'm generally not scared of playing Dundee United. I think we've got all the tools to go and get a positive result, as I say. If we can replicate that performance against St Johnstone, I think there's a good chance that we could come away with something.
I think I know the answer to this, but I'll ask anyway. Do we line up with the same starting 11 then? If everybody's fit, going into the game after the good win against St Johnstone, do we line up exactly the same?
Yeah, I would line up the exact same. I wouldn't change it because I think, as I say, the lineup we have today, I think, can cause them problems. The likes of Pittman, Robinson, Forrest, even in the middle of the park, they're nippy. Their movement off the ball is good, which I think could cause their back four all sorts of problems. And then Tiffany as well. I think that kind of front four almost is pivotal in terms of getting a good result.
I think if there's one change that you maybe look at, it could potentially be Sybil coming back in. I think he's been absolutely brilliant for us so far this season, and probably, unless he's carrying a knock today, it's a bit of a strange one that he's not even came on.
Yeah, I believe Sybil was carrying a knock. I read somewhere, so wasn't overly surprised to see Hope starting ahead of him. But I think Hope was excellent. It's difficult to take Holt out the side, especially when we've won the game, kept a clean sheet. As good as Sybil has been for us this season and in general over the last kind of 12 months almost. So it's difficult. Where would you fit him in off the back of that performance today?
It's one of these games, I can almost see it being a sort of dogged midfield battle. This kind of game, you've got Butcher, as I mentioned, you've got, is it Harkes? Kind of similar player, likes to put the tackle in, likes to dominate the midfield. So if we're putting Bartley, Holt and Pittman in there, there's a lot of legs in there, but you've also got that sort of combative style with Bartley and Holt and that experience. So I don't see Sybil coming back into the team, not for the start anyway. If the game's going against us, certainly one to look at to bring on for that sort of expression in the middle of the park, looking to open up the defence. But yeah, it's one, like you said, Ewan, I'm not worried about. I kind of mentioned it right at the start of the season when we were doing our predictions and things, that I don't rate Dundee United overly well. They've had a good start, don't get me wrong, sitting 11 points just now. So they've had a good start, but we win the game, we go above them. And it doesn't surprise me in the slightest that we should be going up there and trying to get a result. I think we've every opportunity to do that. If we take the best performances that we can into the game, I think we've got a great opportunity.
So going on to predictions then, Waugh, we'll start with you. So me and Waugh got a point today off the back of the St Johnstone result. Andy being really negative with his draw, as was Bruni with his 0-0. Shocking. But Waugh, we'll start with you. Result for the Dundee United game.
I'm going to go positive. I'm going to go 2-0. I think that we'll go 1-0 up and then we'll hit them late on the counter and we'll use the pace of someone to get in behind them. So 2-0 Livi.
Andy, what are you thinking?
Well, it worked this week, so I'm going to go again with another kind of prediction that's kind of negative, but not, despite what I've said there. I'm going to go another draw. I'm going to go 1-1 up at Tannadice, which I'd be very happy with.
I'm going to be similar to Waugh, but I think Dundee United will score. I think they've been fairly decent in terms of going forward, so I'm going to go 2-1 Livi and get our first win on grass for the season and hopefully shut Stephen Thompson and whatnot up on Sports Scene.
Well, we're always due one win away from home on grass, aren't we? So why not make it Friday night before the cup games? Why not go into those cup games with a bit of a boost, given that all those games are going to be on plastic? So finish up with kind of that bit of the season on grass with a win. Great opportunity for us. Good win against St Johnstone. Let's hope we can follow up with another positive result up at Tannadice.
That's it for this week's episode of TalkLivi. To check out all our weekly content, go like our page on Facebook and Instagram and hit follow on our Twitter. They can all be found by searching TalkLivi.
You can also find all our episodes, including this one, and all good podcast streaming sites, including iTunes and Spotify. We're also on YouTube. Search for TalkLivi and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If none of those options suit you, all you have to do is head to our website, talklivipodcast.libsyn.com, where you can find every single episode we have ever done over the last few years.
So that's it for another week. Thanks again to you all for listening and continuing to support us. But for now, from Callum, you and myself, we hope you have a great week.